What is up? Welcome back to Zach Snacks Cooking Channel. You are in for another good episode. Happy 2021 from my family to yours. Now, guys, today, as you see down below, we're going to be making a hamburger casserole from the comfort of your home, my home, our home. As you know, Zach Snacks' motto is we are satisfying any appetite. I hope you're ready to cook along with me. The ingredients for this recipe will be down below. So without further ado, let's get to the video. Alright guys, so first we're going to start by using our small pot, but before we do that, we're going to need to spray it with Pam. Just a little bit of Pam, just so nothing sticks to the bottom, and then you're going to need your olive oil. You're going to pour just a little bit of olive oil in the bottom of the pan. After you do that, we're going to pull the pan over here. And then we're going to grab our onions. I will cut up about half of an onion and put it into the pan. Now you're just going to move the onions around the pan. We're going to put this pan on top of the eye, and we're going to start cooking these onions. So, I'm going to turn that eye up to medium, and we're going to start cooking them onions. While them onions are cooking, and just a side note, last week we cooked our dinner rolls. This is what we'll be having as a side with our hamburger casserole today. I cooked this recipe last week, and it also will be in a note card up above right now. Alright guys, so go check that out. Cook you up some dinner rolls as a side. So, while we are letting these onions cook up, we're going to move over there in just a little bit. Alright, now while we wait for our onions to cook on the stove, we're going to start boiling our water. You're going to need about 3/4 cup of this pot full of water to equal our 32 ounces of macaroni, which is 2 packets. So, we're going to fill this up 3/4 full. After we have filled this 3/4 full, we're going to set this on top of the stove, and we're going to start letting this boil. Set it over here. We're going to turn that up also to medium, and then we're going to grab just about a teaspoon of salt and put it in the bottom of the pan. And that's going to help our water boil. Now, while we're waiting for our water for our macaroni noodles to get done, we're going to add just a little bit of salt and pepper to our onions and let that cook for about 2-3 minutes until our onions brown. So, just a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt. Then we're going to help that mix up. This is what your onions should start looking like as you are letting them cook in the bottom of the pan. Alright guys, while our onions is finishing up and we're still waiting just a little bit longer for our water to boil, we're going to preheat our oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Press start in the oven. That'll take about 15 minutes to preheat. Our onions are done. this is our onions after they are done. So, we don't want to cook them too much because it is going to go in the oven also after we get it all together. Next, you're going to need your big pan. You're going to want to put olive oil in this pan also. You're going to want to spray this pan. And then put some olive oil around the bottom. Alright. And then, just going to move it around like so. And then we're going to add in our meat. So let's add in this meat. We're going to just pull that like that. Then we're going to pull the meat out into the pan. Make sure your meat also is unthawed so it'll be easy to just pull the meat away from the rest of it. You know what I mean? Alright. So now we're just going to start pulling this meat off like so. And then we're going to season our meat. Make sure you season your meat. That is very important. Because that gives it the taste that you always looking for. We're just breaking it all apart from each other. Like so. After you get your meat all breaking apart, now we're going to add our seasoning. So you're going to want to grab just a little bit of seasoning salt. You're going to add that seasoning salt. You're going to drizzle it over the meat. Next, this is my special favorite. We're going to add just a little bit of Smack Your Mama. Then you're going to add your pepper. Your salt. Then you're going to start mixing this up too. We're starting to get all this mixed up. Just to get that seasoning all mixed in with everything. That's the most important thing about cooking meat. Make sure all your seasoning gets spread around. Like so. Alright guys, we are at the stove now. As you see, we got our onions in the back. Now we're going to get our spoon and we're going to just start mixing this up. Make sure your eyes on medium. It's going to take just a little bit to start cooking. Let that start getting brown. And we're going to start mixing it. And as it is getting brown, make sure we're mixing it. My little special seasoning. Alright guys, so now that our water is boiling, we're going to pour in our macaroni noodles. And as you pour it in, make sure you get it mixed around like so. Make sure you mix around the macaroni noodles as you are pouring it in. Alright, now that we got that in, we're going to start mixing this up also along with our meat. That is the oven that just preheated, and we're going to let that sit for a second and let that continue to cook. As you can see, our meat is starting to get done. It's about almost halfway done, really. You start, this is the brown that we like to see. Continue to break this up and mix it up. In a minute, I'm going to turn it down for medium. Just let it continue to cook at its pace. Do not rush and try to cook this meat, or really any meat. Because if you rush to cook meat, it's really not going to taste too good. That's what I'm going to continue to do. Continue to Break this meat up and turn it over. Like so. I'm gonna let that cook for a little bit longer. And now we're gonna look over here with our noodles. Our noodles are getting there. They're still cooking. Yep. So we're getting there, people. Looking good, looking good. Alright guys, so now we have moved over to the sink. In the background, that is our meat still cooking. Now I'm going to pour our noodles into our drainer to drain the water out of our noodles. Got a little foggy there. And one trick my mama taught me to know if your noodles are done, you just throw it up to the wall. And that's how you know if it was done or not. If they done, you should be able to throw them in the wall and they will stick. If they fall off, it's not done. Remember that the next time you're cooking some noodles. Alright. Now, I'm going to shake the water out in our strainer. Now we're going to pour this back into our pot and we're going to add butter to it. Alright, so we're going to pour our macaroni noodles back into our pan slowly. It's going to be a little hot there. Alright. Now we're going to add our butter. One stick and 2 tablespoons of butter. Just pour that in there like that. And then you're going to just mix it together. And mix that butter all around the noodles. So you get every piece of them noodles buttered up. You're going to butter up them noodles. Gonna keep doing that till the butter is all the way gone. The other one has already broken off, as you can see. Alright, after your butter is gone, we are going to just let it set a top on it, and then we're gonna finish with our meat. Alright guys, so now that our meat is totally brown and broken up, now we're going to add in our pasta sauce. So I'm going to do about 1.5 cans. Just going to add that to that, just like so. You can also add in diced tomatoes if you like, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to add in our tomato sauce. Pour it all around, and then we're going to use our spoon and mix it up in just a second. Next, we're going to add in our onions. And or anything else you added to the onions. Put that around like that. Like so. And then you're going to want to add in just a little bit of garlic powder, just for taste, on the top of your sauce. And then you're going to mix that all together. What I like to do to mix it up, I just pull from the outside and push it in like that. Get all of that mixed in with the sauce. Watch the sides, make sure none of the sauce falls out. All that in there. None of you bad boys gonna be left out today. Alright, and then after we finish mixing all the sauce in with the meat, we're going to set the top on top of our sauce also. Just let that simmer on the stove. And then we're gonna combine both our noodles and our meat sauce. Alright guys, so now that our sauce and our noodles is done, now we're going to put it in our Pyrex dish, and we're going to get it in the oven. So now let's put in our noodles first. You're going to need your spoon. You're just going to start putting the noodles in first. Alright guys, now that we have filled in our Pyrex dish with our noodles, now we're going to add our sauce to it. So let me grab the sauce. still be a little hot. And then we're going to put some sauce on top, like so. And then we're going to mix it in. Now I'm just going to mix in the sauce, just like so. Alright, so now that we got the sauce and everything mixed all the way in, now we're going to add our shredded cheese and paprika to the top. Alright, now after we add our cheese, now we're going to add just a little bit of paprika.